She is back, the horror guru. It's Nuts!
Hi everyone, it's really good to be back. I think you're going to love this video, so here goes.
Yeah, if you didn't see the previous video that Nuts featured in, it was the top 5 horror films you've probably never heard of.
Yeah, went down a storm.
Some really good comments, yeah. You were the perfect person for that. In fact, you're the perfect person for anything horror related. As we talked, as we discussed before, you are obsessed.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And there's literally no horror film she hasn't seen. When we have regular horror nights, it's like, should we watch this, should we watch this, should we watch this? Doesn't matter how obscure it is, she's seen it.
And it's usually me going, no, seen it, no. So, yeah.
And my challenge to you is comment below, come up with a film that she probably hasn't seen. And if you can do so, fair play to you, fair play.
Challenge accepted, that's what I'm going to say.
So what's today's video about?
Okay, so we've sort of compiled a list of films that you can enjoy at Halloween with the best jump scares.
Ooh.
So jump scares that have actually made you jump out of your skin.
So in your opinion, is a jump scare important when it comes to a horror film?
Not necessarily. The story's the most important part, but it's the fun factor. It's not knowing when something could happen and then it just happens, and then it's the giggle to yourself afterwards that you feel a bit stupid that you may have jumped, but it's the whole fun point of it. That's why I like jump scares, definitely. Yeah.
I particularly like jump scares when you're at the cinema as well, because when you can...
Oh, and everyone jumps and the popcorn goes everywhere. Yeah, that's the best part.
Because you feel like you're part of an experience, not just watching a film.
And you don't feel as silly when everyone else jumps in the room as well, so it's good. Yeah.
So these 5 films you've chosen, are they in any particular order?
Not necessarily, but the one that I will say for last is definitely, I feel, the best jump scare in any movie that I've ever seen. So that will be the number 1 spot, if you like.
So what's number 5?
We'll go down in order. So for number 5, I have gone with Jaws. It's your typical scene. Jaws is attacking the boat, but the people that I've spoken to about this one, including my family, the older generation, when it was first initially released, nobody expected it to happen. So when it happened, everyone jumped out of their skin. So it's the iconic scene on the boat, out comes Jaws, bites down, and there you have it. But it's just not expected, and that's what I think people enjoyed about it, definitely.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Now, I'm one of these film nerds that loves watching behind the scenes.
I'm so glad, because I've seen Jaws probably twice in my life, so at least you know a little bit more about it than I do, so that's good.
Well, the making of this film was basically everything was going wrong for Spielberg, because the shark was so obviously fake. It kept breaking, it kept sinking to the bottom of the ocean. They basically decided to make the horror more things you couldn't see.
Oh, okay.
And as we know, there's nothing more scary than your own imagination.
Yes, definitely. That is a well-known factor, yeah.
So by taking the shark pretty much out of the entire film, they made it a lot more scary. And I literally think that started, you know, a whole chain of similar horror films.
Oh, maybe it was the first of its kind then, who knows?
It is definitely the first official summer blockbuster.
Oh, really? Okay, so number 4, I've picked The Thing, and it's the most iconic scene there. It's the defibrillator scene. A lot of people were not expecting this, myself included. It's the whole perspective of it, just, okay, this guy's going to save this guy's life, and bang. Was not expecting it. Bit like the alien, the chest bursting scene, but this one was a little bit more, you genuinely thought this guy was going to save this guy's life, and then it all goes wrong.
Now, don't judge me on this, but I only saw that film about a year ago.
Please tell me it wasn't the remake. You did actually
No,
sit there and watch the original.
it was the original. And here's the thing as well. I was a bit worried that because I didn't watch it back in the day, and films have really changed since.
Yeah.
I was worried that it might have been outdated and I'd watch it and think, oh, what's everyone going on about? But actually,
No,
it
so
stands
iconic.
the test of time.
Yeah, it does. I know some of the scenes and the graphics and things can be a little bit dated, but it's your imagination when you're watching that film, and it's not something you've ever seen before, where this being could potentially be your best friend sitting right next to you and you just wouldn't know it. That is quite a surreal thought.
Yeah,
just checking that you're you. That's fine. We're okay.
And the cinematography as well. Like considering like how old the film is, like it was quite ahead of its time in that way.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
What else we got?
Okay, so for number 3, I've gone for The Ring. Now, I know that this is it's a typical horror movie and everything else, but again, I was not expecting her to come out of that well or out of that TV at any point in the movie, so I just want to say that got me a good, definitely.
I was exactly the same. Like literally, it's the only film I've watched where I jumped backwards. I had no idea that was coming.
Yeah.
It was the Japanese version I watched.
So if you're going to watch like The Ring, then The Ring O, then definitely there is something about the element of the Japanese style that is a lot scarier. But even the American version, I think when I first saw it, I think I was just roughly a teenager. So that even then was scary enough for me, to be honest.
And is that quite often the case, that the Japanese version of a horror film will be better than the American?
The story tends to be a lot more involved, I feel, that they tend to concentrate less on the shock factor and more on the story and the characters, and that's why I do tend to prefer that side of it when they do remakes and things. A lot of the American remakes have been good, don't get me wrong, but some of them you just feel that the Japanese version sticks more to the origin and more the story, and that's what I prefer a little bit more. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, can you think of a time where an American remake has actually been better than a Japanese version?
Oh, okay. I quite liked The Eye.
Yes.
I thought that was quite good. Off the top of my head, that would be the only one I can think of. There has been a few, I'm sure of it, but again, it's hit and miss. It can either be better or it can be worse, and that actually leads into my next film.
Well, I'm desperate to know what number 1 is, so before that...
Okay, so leading on to number 2, we've got Rec, or Record, as it's known.
Yes.
And as you're obviously aware, the American did the version Quarantine. Not as good, I didn't think. The most iconic scene in that for me was the child in the attic. Camera goes up, spins round, bang, there's a child. I don't know necessarily if it was the fact that the child just appeared out of nowhere that got me, or just the fact that I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, that I love, one of my top 10 films that is. I love it. I think it's great.
Again, I only saw this a few months ago thanks to your not only recommendation, but you lent me the DVD. That got me in a lot of trouble. I was having a glass of Baileys on the couch. It was a brand new couch, and my partner said to me, "Are you sure you're not going to jump and Baileys and going to go everywhere?" I'm like, "I'm an adult. I think I'll be fine." About 30 minutes later, there was Baileys on the couch.
Oh no!
I'm blaming
coasters. Always use coasters, people.
Is the sequel as good as the first? Or?
The second one was good, but it's not necessarily a sequel. Just the story continues on as it does in the third, and I believe there's a fourth, but don't quote me on that. Okay. But the third one, I just felt it got a little bit over the top, to be honest.
Fair enough. But before we talk about the final film, I'm just curious. Speaking of jump scares, has any film literally made you like chuck your popcorn in the air or literally leap out your seat?
Unfortunately, the number 1 spot, I was too young to go and see at the cinema.
Okay.
But sitting at home, yes, my mum did let me watch it when I was a little bit younger than I was supposed to. But yes, this one, and to this day, I can watch this film 101 times, but it's still, and I know it's coming, but it still makes me jump. And it's 7.
He's laughing at us. You got what you deserved. He's alive! He's alive! The cocksucker's alive! Stop breathing! Hands down! Emergency on that ambulance!
So you were at home when you saw that for the first time?
My mum, she went to see it at the cinema, I believe. I see certain parts that she wouldn't let me watch. There were certain scenes, but I think she, for the comedy factor, I think my mum let me watch that just to see how well I would jump, and I literally, I kid you not, I must have gone 10 feet in that air off that sofa. I jumped a mile, definitely. And I still do to this day. It gets me every time.
Do you know, I think there's a few scenes you could have picked for 7. I kind of feel it's a bit underrated as a horror film because a lot of people class it as thriller.
I'd class it more as psychological thriller, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially the ending scene with the whole what's in the box.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I had no idea that that's what was going to be in that box, and I felt heartbroken for him. I really did.
That was such a good scene.
But no, that film will always be an iconic film to me. Always be a favourite. But it's just for me it was that one scene. Just was not expecting it.
So thank you so much for joining us again.
No props. I thoroughly enjoyed it yet again.
And do you think anything should have been on the list that actually wasn't? Feel free to comment below. And I hate to do this, but I ask it every time. Please comment, click the like button, click the bell, because all these things, they really help a small channel to slowly become a big channel, and it's very much appreciated. Nats, I hope you're going to be back.
Of course I will. Anytime.
See you next time.
Bye.
Oscar? Yeah? I'm going to be about 3 minutes. I'm going to be down really soon, buddy. See you soon.
Oh, bless him.
He's got
Is
such
that
a
the one
cute
that sounds like
voice, isn't
Danny?
he? Yeah.
He does sound
Red
like
Ram.
Oh. That was another one I was going to use, but I thought, no, I won't.